What up, gang? I took that line from a viral guy that kind of pranks his wife all the time, but ain't no pranks going on here. So it's almost like we're leaving an inspection station, and that's what we are talking about today. Good morning, guys. I'm Steven Montiero, aka Trooper Steve, your traffic safety expert, law enforcement advocate, safety connoisseur of things, but I work here at News 6, and we're here inside of what we call Results One. It is a streaming machine. Occasionally we get to go live from inside this, but what we do is we go out and about in the community, whether it's an interview, whether it's some kind of traffic issue that you want me to come out, us, News 6, and visit. Where have we been over the years? My gosh, almost 3 years. Such a blessing having Results One. And almost 3 years. Can you believe that? June will be 3 years that Results One has been up and going. And I'm almost at year 10 here at News 6. But over the years, we've been as far north as all the way up in Flagler, down towards the Kenansville area, west out to Webster, Leesburg, the villages, and everything in between, covering things from just staring at a stop sign to looking at speeders to how to negotiate roundabouts and things like that. On today, I got a really very specific email, and I want to read the email to you first because this is the topic and how we do things. So I got an email. Let's see if I can find it, because it is an interesting one, and specifically about some of the inspection stations. So when you're traveling on major highways, you find or you see things that might make you go, huh, that's a good one. So what happened was I received a question, and here it is. Is this it? Yes. Sent from our viewer, Linda. Linda says, my brother-in-law is visiting us in a 25-foot motorhome, an RV. Is he required to stop at the weigh stations along the way? Thank you in advance for any info that you can give. So Linda, we're going to talk about weigh stations here in the state of Florida. And weigh stations can get a little interesting because you don't really know that they're there because they're not listed along your GPS or anything like that. But they sure do pop up out on the highway sometimes. And I've even asked myself this question. And the question is, am I required to stop? Whether in an RV, in a large pickup truck, or anything like that. So we're going to talk about why they're there, who has to stop, does the RV have to stop, and that should be a pretty good thing. So 316, Florida statute, all starts with a statute. A lot of you guys have begun to ask, Steve, hey, can you include if there's a law so we can go read it? Now, 316.545 talks about this in Florida statute. And in the Florida statute, this is a long one, so I'm not going to go over everything about it. But what I did do is get this, put some information together. So whenever you're approaching a weigh station that looks similar to this image right here, you'll see them out on the highway. And there's warning signs that say, hey, weigh station ahead. So what are the rules specifically for a weigh station? So trucks and commercial vehicles must stop when it's open. Read and follow every sign. So if the sign says bypass and you're in a commercial vehicle, you're going to bypass that. Personal and passenger vehicles may bypass a weigh station. Failure to stop when required may result in a citation. So what do I mean by that? Let's come back out. What do I mean by that? So if we were cruising out here inside Results One, right? Or just inside of a pickup truck, an F-150, going down, say, I-75, and I see that weigh station, am I required to stop there? No, I would not be required to stop there. If I was in my personal sedan cruising out there, would I be required to stop? And the answer is no, I would not be required to stop. So who are required to stop in these areas? And what they're designed for is pretty much what you're thinking, right? Commercial motor vehicles. Businesses use trucks. So a large vehicle with a DOT number, maybe towing something, weight thresholds. Without getting too deep into it, if you're carrying well over the 10,000 or more pound area, you would be required to stop. And sometimes there is messaging that says, hey, you have to stop here. Now let's think about it. Why do we have weigh stations? Similar to why we have agricultural inspections. It's how we get to maintain law and order out on the roads in areas that people don't think. Why are we weighing certain things? Think about it. Commercial motor vehicles do have restrictions in order to maintain safety out on the roadway. You don't want something overloaded with a hazardous material, or maybe not even a hazardous material, driving down the road. What happens if that driver or that company is trying to maybe get one over, save a few dollars? Then it's the state law enforcement, Florida Highway Patrol, things like that, that come in and say, no, when you're cruising on a public roadway, it is our job to be the referees out here. So therefore, we're going to inspect some things out on the roadway. It is beautiful outside this morning, but the vehicles you're seeing here, these large vehicles right there, they would be required to pull inside of a weigh station, whether they had equipment with them or not, guys. Just imagine if you work north of one, you got to drop south of one. Every time you bypass, if you're in one of these required vehicles, you'd be required to stop inside that weigh station. And a lot of people think, well, what happens if I bypass that weigh station? You're going to get pulled over. So if you've cruising years ago, let's go down memory lane here for a second. FDOT cops. You might remember these cars. They were white patrol cars with blue lettering that said FDOT on it. State Law Enforcement, FDOT. Those were the Commercial Motor Vehicle Enforcement officers. They were called Commercial Compliance Officers. Now they're part of the Florida Highway Patrol. So whenever you pass these weigh stations, 95% of the time you do see state trooper vehicles parked by them. This is not just for them so they can have a clean bathroom and a nice break out on the roadway, although it's nice. It's a great place to take a break if you're a trooper out there. But they conduct inspections beyond the weight. A lot of people don't even realize that a Florida state trooper that's assigned to the Commercial Motor Vehicle Enforcement Unit can actually conduct weight inspections on the side of the road. Steve, how do they do that? Well, that's why they drive F-150s, the Tahoes, because in the back of their vehicles, and I'm not feeding you blowing smoke, I'm not feeding you a story here, they have scales that they're able to completely remove from their vehicle and weigh a semi-truck on the side of the road. Pretty cool stuff. Consequences for bypassing. Now, you can receive a citation for bypassing a weigh station out on the rules. I saw rules pop up on the screen, so I just read it. Out on the roadway. But to the nuts and bolts of this, let's think about it. You're cruising. You're coming up on a weigh station. You see the sign, weigh station ahead. You're now driving in your luxurious RV. Now, what does RV actually stand for? Do you guys know? Does anybody know? RV, recreational vehicle. I didn't know that. I did not know that. I always wondered what RV stood for. And my smart self had no clue. So, an RV, you think about it. How many snowbirds or visitors do we have all the time? So this is for all of you guys. The weigh station rules for the RV. Check it out. Here, you see the sign, you're driving the RV, you're cruising, weigh station ahead, and you and the family are hanging out in it. Does an RV need to stop at the weigh station? No, ladies and gentlemen, you do not have to stop. RVs and motorhome used for personal travel, that's a personal vehicle. It's not a commercial motor vehicle. You are not required to stop. And what does that mean? That means if you see the sign, you don't have to pull into it. If it says our way station active, you only have to stop if directed by law enforcement. There could be a situation where Florida State Troopers are out there and they might be doing some type of enforcement. You would then be required if the signage says that. So coming back out, when you're driving down the roadway, guys, you'll see those digital marquee signs that are out there saying way station ahead, prepare to stop, closed, open. Sometimes that might say all vehicles enter way station. If you're driving that RV, then you would be required to enter the way station. But to flat out answer Linda's question, her brother, coming in to visit would not be required to stop. Now, agriculturally, if maybe you're transporting some large amounts of agriculture, fruits, foods, goods, or anything like that, then you may want to stop at an ag stop, because the agricultural police, the state police, we do have ags, and as a trooper, we like to make fun of each other, but they've got a vital job, and these guys are focused on disease, the laws and regulations when it comes to transporting goods. So although you might have done the right thing and not stopped, if you are signaled down the road, pulled over for passing the way station, they may have been conducting some type of enforcement. Always remember, be courteous, be polite, and always have your documents ready. I was listening to Johnny's House this morning on XL 106.7, and he got pulled over in his neighborhood, and he had no idea why. But within 5 minutes, the traffic stop was done, and he was on his way home without a ticket, because he was polite, he was courteous, and he had all his documents in order. Same thing applies here, guys. Just because maybe the law says you're not required, they may be conducting an operation, and you are then required to stop. But like the sign says, and to answer Linda's question specifically, an RV is not required to stop at a way station unless directed by law enforcement. So easy, quick, simple stream here talking about this stuff. I want to do a little bit more. If you got something, email me at asktroopersteve@wkmg.com, or just simple message to any of my social media platforms, and I'll get the ball rolling. I'll tell you how to email me, and we'll get these topics covered. This week we've had some really cool stuff. Valentine's Day right around the corner, and we have some really cool, amazing interviews set up. So until then, guys, I'm going to head back to the News 6 Command Center, talk about some e-bikes, e-bike safety. But just remember, signage is always key. Just like anywhere, I always preach, pay attention to the signs. If it says way station closed, whether you're in a commercial motor vehicle or not, you can bypass it. If you're an RV, you're not required to stop at a way station. But if you are in a commercial motor vehicle, any commercial motor vehicle, you are required to stop. Love you guys. Drive safely. This has been Trooper Steve on patrol. I'll catch you later.